Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
Como están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am your host, the ever-lovable, no-sleeve-wearing, round mound from Pound Town, Sleeveless Mike. The man to my right is our red-bearded Vikings fan with more hard dick per capita than a Las Vegas strip club, Evo. How we doing, everybody? I am pumped to be here today.
How's it going?
Evo, how you doing, big guy?
I'm tired. I'm always tired.
Tired?
Yep. Dating a younger girl is just draining my life force.
I have seen some of the posts. You look like you are struggling a little bit. My fucking mic is pissing me off right now.
I'm tired, man. It's fun, but I'm tired.
I get it. I remember, being a young man and doing dumb shit, and now you are no longer a young man, so it's harder to keep doing the dumb shit and keep going out and partying all the time.
I can do a lot of dumb shit still, but Daddy likes to sleep.
Daddy does like his sleep, doesn't he?
Daddy likes to sleep, and he could use a nap here and there. Yeah,
I get it, man. I get it.
It's good though.
Man.
It's starting to get spicy out here in Arizona. I'm already fucking tired of that. Being from up in the North Country in Minnesota, I am used to those nice, like a perfect day. My perfect weather day for me is like low humidity, 62 to 65, slight breeze, and limited cloud cover, just so that way the sun isn't just beating down on you. That's just like deliciously perfect for me. And so when you're just getting that straight sun ramming its phallic nature up your butt, it's not fun. So I'm tired of that, and we haven't even gotten into the thick of it yet. It's only been in like maybe the low 90s here. What's up, $20?
What's
Dave
up,
Weideman, the man.
Love you, big guy. So I am really glad that I am now here in Ohio and not in Arizona, where it is fucking ball blistering hot. It's been fairly nice here. A couple days, it'll get a little warm, get up into the mid to high 80s, a little bit of humidity. When it does get ready to rain, it cools down a lot, so it's not doesn't stay hot and humid, but there is a little bit of humidity. The only thing that I don't like is that, man, it will still get pretty fucking cold sometimes. That temperature fluctuation up and down has been kicking my ass still. I have not been able to kick this fucking cough. I have been just absolutely attacking my body with all of the drugs I am legally allowed to take and continue to do my job. So I'm probably going to continue to do that, but I'm also going to continue to put, good things in my body.
Yeah. Look, I think that there's definitely healthy parts of alcohol that help cleanse your body, mind, and soul of demons. So
there we go.
Shrink up, Buttercup.
Oh, I'm going to. Trust me on that. There is no doubt that I'm going to continue to drink up. It's been a fucking long week, man. I did not get hardly shit for sleep. We got our new bed. It's awesome. I fucking love it. Super comfortable. But this cough has been terrible. I've had to stay up late the last couple nights. Graydon's had baseball. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk a little bit about youth sports. But yeah, and those games start fucking late. They go late. My ass has got to be up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready for work. Keg stands. I mean, Dave knows I'm always down for keg stands. I'm one of the only people I think that can hold Dave up to do a keg stand, so I'm absolutely down. as soon as he wants to bring his ass out to Ohio, because I am not going back to Arizona. Sorry,
Well-
Nick. It's not happening.
So that's the thing is, I believe old $20 is about to be in bachelor status mode here in the next week or so.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we're in that time of year. So people generally don't know. Some people might know who watch the show here locally, but Dave becomes a geographical bachelor for a little bit in the summer. Wife and kids go to Kansas, I believe, and so that allows him to kind of let his freak flag fly as far as the drinking and stuff like that. He's always good with his marriage and everything, but he goes from fun Dave to real fun Dave for a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Freak flag is gonna fly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So drunk Dave is the funniest of all the Daves. I won't say he's the best Dave, because I don't want to say that he needs intoxicants to make him the best. But drunk Dave is definitely the funniest of all the Daves that I've encountered, and he's always a good fucking time.
The loosened inhibitions are always fun. But no, I wouldn't say it's the best Dave. I think Dave's great on his own. But I mean, I will say this. He just got done with his little diet competition.
Nice. How did he win? I have not been able to hear the results.
He did not win the competition. I believe he got third, but he won in his own way because the boy's looking slim, trim, ready to rock with his cock out. He doesn't have the complete fuck gutters yet, but he's working towards it.
Nice.
And even though the competition's over, he better be fucking sticking with it. I know you're watching, Dave. You better be sticking with it. He was going to stick with the dieting and the working out and everything, and now he's about to become this geographical bachelor. We can't let it just fly out the window. Keep it going, because you got to think about it, Dave. When the old lady comes back, if you're a whole new man again,
man,
you're about to have more kids.
If you want to get a luscious V of hair from your chest pubes down to your ball fro, and just
he's already got that.
Oh, I know he does. I figured the man had it. He is the vanilla gorilla after all.
But we do need to see some more of that vanilla gorilla eats out there.
Vanilla gorilla eats would be super cool, especially if we can find some places that are healthy that can keep him kind of on track on the diet. Like, I'm fucking totally down for that.
I love the kind words.
Well, we love you, Dave. We appreciate you always hopping in here.
I'm sure he's about to stream here in a little bit, so I know we prop it up every time. But anyone that likes to watch some video gaming, some mostly Warzone content, and a good time, check out $20 is $20 on Twitch, and that's exactly as it's popped up on our screen here. $20 IZ, $20.
Hey, we'll toss it up there one more time for everybody to see it.
Pretty easy to find on Twitch. He streams almost every single day. Weekdays, it's normally like 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Arizona time, so adjust that for your viewing pleasure. And he also has, he puts out shorts on TikTok and YouTube shorts or reels or whatever the hell it's called, all these things. So make sure to check him out. I think he's going to start uploading his VODs on the YouTube as well, so that there's other options to view that if you don't have Twitch available. Like at work, we don't have availability to watch Twitch on the government computers, but hey, YouTube works. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, I wonder who posts this.
I would be willing to bet that is producer Amber. She's out of the house right now with Graydon and the girls. They're at a birthday party. Very, very sad that I had to miss that for the pod. A bunch of screaming 11-year-olds out next to the lake.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, I'm glad that he absolutely smoked the pinata. And that kind of leads us right into the first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit of youth sports like we kind of always do. So we are back in youth sports out here. We're in Menor baseball right now. It's not a bad league. It's not a great league. It's very different than what he was used to playing out in Arizona. He's probably should be in the next age group up, based on some of the rules that they play here compared to what we were playing out for AAA minors out in Arizona. And last night, I I didn't get into an altercation, but Coach Mike's not around anymore. He's not a coach. He is Parent Mike. And coach on the other team started making some complaints and saying that Graydon was cheating because he was playing baseball the right way. And Parent Mike went off on the coach and tried to explain to this incredibly dumb woman that he was not leading off of the base. It's called a secondary lead. He's playing real baseball. As soon as the ball gets to the catcher, he can come off the back. He was doing that. He was doing what he was taught. He was doing, he was playing baseball. And yeah, they didn't like that. They got these kids tied to the bag. It's tough. But they did get their first win last night. Graydon had a pretty decent game. 2 for 3 with two RBIs and a run scored. So pretty good night. The night before he had another game. Like I said, I was out there twice. Pitched for the first time in this league. Went 2 innings, struck out 4, I want to say, in the 2 innings. Walked a couple, allowed a couple runs. But, I mean, we're not playing a ton of defense in this league right now. But, hey, the team is getting better. Coach is doing a good job getting the kids a little bit better. Graydon is very far advanced for this league. But he's having a good time. And, I mean, I get to be dad instead of coach for this season, which is an interesting little change for me.
Now, don't ruin yourself where they won't let you be Coach Mike next year.
I know.
We got a comment here from Faith Boyer. Glad he's able to find a team quickly.
Oh, thanks for hopping in there, Faith. Yeah, we were very happy as well. We actually talked to one of the parents on the opposing team last night on, football leagues. So we're going to try to get them signed up for one. Signups are going on right now. Baseball is not as big here in Ohio as it is in Arizona, but it's going to be, I think, the complete fucking reverse when we get to football. Football is going to be they're going to be going hard and heavy, and he's hopefully going to be ready to step up to that level of competition because I think it's going to be a little tougher here than it was out in Arizona. So, but I'm excited, man. He's having a good time. He was fucking pumped up the other night. He came off the mound after striking the kid out to end the inning, and he's giving him one of these and celebrating. And I mean, at the time, they were winning, so I was okay with it. But it's always fun when you can see your kids have fun and play a game that's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And really enjoy themselves. Unlike Major League Baseball.
Now you just got to show some clips of Barry Sanders when he scores a touchdown. He just hands the ball back to the ref and be like, see, it's cool to do the celebration, but also then you look at Barry Sanders and that's a bad motherfucker when he's just like, this is another day at the office, man.
Yeah.
Here's your football back. And show him that and be like, translate this into your sports and you're going to start looking like that bad motherfucker.
Yeah. So we're not to that point where he's so good that he doesn't have to celebrate. But then we would like to get there, though.
Then if your team starts to lose, then you don't look like a bit of a asshole.
Buffoon. And I explained that to him. I was like, listen, that celebration's all well and good while you're winning. If you make that celebration while you're down by 8-9 runs, you look like an ass. So don't do that to yourself. Which is exactly what happened in the next inning after he was pulled. There's no run limits in the innings in this league. Which is interesting considering the rules that they try to enforce, but they just let kids fucking score 100 runs in an inning. They gave up 8 or 9 in the next inning. So that was tough to watch. I was like, man, we help these kids out. Let's get them off the field and let's rotate. Let's fucking go here.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're in football or in baseball. We'll be looking to get into football soon, but I'm just, man, it's been good so far. Producer Amber is getting a job. So that's going to be awesome. More money coming in. And then, if things work out, I have put in some applications for internships with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if they're listening. It'd be super dope if somebody heard this. But I'll fucking quit my job and go do that. And she can be the majority, money maker. I mean, she's already smarter than I am, so she should probably make more money than me too. But all right, man. We'll get off of the little youth sports and the intro stuff. Are we ready to start diving into kind of what we have for the show today? Because we got some different kind of off the wall topics that we haven't talked about in a while or ever for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right. So the first one we want to dive into, or at least the first one that I want to dive into, is going to be name, image, and likeness. Okay. So you guys have heard us talk on the show way back in the day about name, image, and likeness. This is the start of college football season when we talked about this last time, I want to say, and how it could potentially change the landscape of what college football is and how recruiting is done throughout college football. Well, after 1 year with absolutely no regulation, that is starting to rear its ugly head, and some people are not happy about it. Some people are thrilled because now they can compete with the big boys like in Alabama. And I am 100% in favor for these kids getting paid what they're worth while they can. If name, image, and likeness deals keep kids in college for 4 years and they get a degree, that's even better. Now they're getting a degree, they're getting paid, and then they may or may not have an opportunity to go on and become a professional athlete. I think this is a total fucking win-win. Some people don't see it that way. Some people think that there absolutely need to be some restrictions. I would imagine there will be some restrictions coming down because the college football's most powerful man has come out and made some comments that, in my opinion, were a little asinine, and they were not taken very kindly. So Nick Saban was asked in an interview, I think on like a little radio show, Sirius XM College, or no, that's where he issued his apology. We'll get to that. But he was on a little show and were asked about recruiting. What he said was, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. We didn't buy one player, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it. He went on further to say, make some comments about Deion Sanders and Jackson State, how they were able to pull the number one recruit in the nation away from Florida State, basically alluding to the fact that this kid is being paid $1 million, whereas Deion is only making $300,000 as the head coach. So I want to get your take on Nick Saban's comments first before we kind of move into the next piece in a response from Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher.
It's obviously some frustration coming out from Saban. He's always been that kind of, at least we'll say the past decade, probably longer. He's been the guy as far as like getting all the top recruits to come to his team, being one of the best, if not the best teams in college football. And there's probably some frustration coming out now because he doesn't have the same recruiting power as in the past, because other areas, other teams are able to recruit these players a little bit differently than before because of these NIL deals. The draw to go to a team like Alabama, where he before is able to say, hey, look at how many national championships we're in, look at how our team is getting drafted into the NFL. This is where you make your money. He's like, this is your internship to make that big money. So right. You got to come here if you want to make that big money. He's like, even our backups go to the NFL and they make big money. That's like the easiest recruiting push ever. It's like you come here, you win championships, and you get to the NFL, and that's when you make your bank. Now he can't really say that as easy because players are able to make bank before they ever get to the NFL. And some other areas, some other schools, some other opportunities are providing them that money now, which if you look at the background of some of these kids, they might come from a low-income area where their family's not making anything, and $1 million right now
is life-changing.
Yeah, it's like,
not life-changing just right now. That's life-changing for his entire family. If you come from an area where you're literally poor, like, or you're, we've seen ESPN talk about all these fucking stories during the draft profiles where they highlight the fact that this kid, slept on cardboard because I don't know why ESPN wants to sell that story, but we see it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
$1 million to that family is
the rags to riches story is huge all the time. It pulls at the heartstrings, but it is a reality. It is a reality that a lot of you're talking thousands and thousands of kids entering these college football programs or college sports programs in general, and they are doing what they can, just like everybody is out there doing what they can to earn for themselves and their family. And they have this opportunity now to make that money much earlier than they did, when it's already so difficult to get into college sports in general. It's even more difficult to get into the professional side. So it's no guarantee that you're going to become a professional athlete once you leave college. So if they're able to make that money now, absolutely go out and get it. And because they have these opportunities to make the money now and make life-changing, impactful dollars for them and their family, it makes the argument of, hey, go to Alabama or one of these power schools a little bit less enticing, because they're not a guarantee that they're going to result in anything in the future. But these NIL deals, they are a guarantee that you're going to get something right now.
right.
So where it's easy to say, hey, take the investment for your future and make more money in the future, that future isn't guaranteed. So they're going to go and take this money. Either way, this is causing recruiting issues probably or recruiting difficulties for the Sabans out there. And they're going to be getting frustrated, because if they aren't able to recruit all of these super uber high talented players, their team potentially is going to suffer. And you could see a leveling of the playing field for some of these other teams. So he's probably getting pissed off that these NIL deals were allowed to happen. And this is the frustration that's starting to come out, because it's going to directly impact his job.
Yeah, it absolutely is. He's got to work harder now. They have to find a way to give more money around, possibly. And let's face it, Tuscaloosa, outside of the fact that Alabama is there and there's a fucking football program, there's not a lot of things around there. There's not a lot of probably NIL deals to be had in the local area, because that's where a lot of these NIL deals are coming from, our local areas. Like, was that kid out in California got a fucking, was it Lamborghini or Ferrari? What fuck was it, Lambo?
I believe it's the Lambo SUV that he gets to drive around or something like that with the bloody guts. So there's kids getting crazy deals from businesses and companies that normally would not have any association with college sports, and they're like, why not? We can throw out a Lambo to this kid and pay him some money too, just to represent us.
Yeah, so we got a Lambo deal in California. If you're in Atlanta at Georgia Tech, you're going to have opportunities for tons of fucking NIL deals. Tuscaloosa is probably not going to offer a shitload of NIL deals, other than maybe a signing at a fucking car dealership or some shit like that. Like, you're not looking at massive NIL deals, and this is directly going to affect Alabama. And Nick Saban is obviously not happy about it. Took some direct shots at 2 coaches. Well, one of those coaches has publicly responded, and Jimbo Fisher let Nick Saban absolutely fucking have it. We're going to play a clip for you guys from that press conference, and let you guys kind of listen to Jimbo's words, and then we'll react to that.
Coach, like to respond to some comments made last night in Alabama?
Yes, I would. First of all, I'll say it's a shame that we have to do this. It's really despicable. It's despicable that somebody can say things about somebody and an organization. More importantly, 17-year-old kids. You're taking shots at 17-year-old kids and their families. That they broke state laws. That they're all money. We bought every player on this group. We never bought anybody. No rules were broken. Nothing was done wrong. It was all in the way we do things, the ethics in which we do things. And these families, it's despicable that a reputable head coach could come out and say this when he doesn't get his way or things don't go his way. The narcissist in him doesn't allow those things to happen, and it's ridiculous. But when he's not on top, and the parity in college football he's been talking about, go talk to coaches who coach for him. You'll find out all the parity. Go dig into wherever he's been. You can find out anything. And it's a shame that you got to sit here and defend 17-year-old kids and families. And Texas A&M, because we do things right, we're always going to do things right. But we're always going to be here. We're doing a heck of a job. These coaches have done a great job. Our players have done a great job. The whole organization of recruiting people. It's despicable that we got to sit there at this level of ball and say these things to defend the people of this organization, the kids, 17-year-old kids and their families. It's amazing. Some people think they're God. Go dig into how God did his deal. You may find out about a guy that a lot of things you don't want to know. We built him up to be the czar of football. Go dig into his past or anybody that's ever coached with him. You can find out anything you want to find out, what he does and how he does it. And it's despicable. It really is. And it's a shame we have to sit up here and have this conversation about things we do. And it's personal to us? Yes, it is. It's personal to A&M. It's personal to our players.
All right. So there's a lot of information in there. And one of the things that he brought up was Nick Saban is not above reproach in this circumstance at all. If you want to talk about recruiting practices and some of the things that are done, Nick Saban could possibly be one of the biggest violators of recruiting rules ever, is what Jimbo is alluding to in this press conference. Very loudly, very publicly. Comments on Jimbo coming back at Nick in this fashion and saying, listen, don't throw fucking stones if you live in a glass house, because we can talk about some shit.
Yeah, look, before NIL deals, we know this has been a thing forever.
Yeah.
College recruiting is deeply seated in shady shit. It is, because we were looking up numbers earlier, and we'll probably end up talking about them a little bit. College football is a big time business. We're talking billions of dollars annually. So getting these top tier athletes to your school to earn your school some of this revenue is a big deal. And before, it's tough to not relate it to this, but it's almost like slave labor. The kids are getting an education, kind of. In return,
they're going to class.
Teams, the teams are getting millions and millions and millions of dollars from their work. So for the kids to start to get some sort of compensation for it, even though it's not like directly from the NCAA, they should be getting compensation somehow, more so than just their education, because people can get their education paid for through scholarships, grants, things like that already. And most of these kids that are on scholarships, so they're already getting their education paid for, but they're earning way, way, way more for the school than they're getting in return. You're talking about a percentage point of the pie that these kids are getting compared to what the schools are getting. So we know that college recruiting has been shady. There's stories about it all the time. There's teams that have been flagged, fined, had penalties imposed on them all the time. You see it with individual players like Reggie Bush and stuff like that, where they are getting accolades taken away from them and things like that because of recruiting type stuff and deals that players are getting on the side and stuff like this. There's a very dark underbelly to all of this that we all kind of know is happening.
Right.
And at least me personally, I just tend to just try to ignore, because I know that there are people that are, particularly the players, are getting fucked. And so that's why I'm a proponent of the NIL deals and any way that these kids can get compensated for their work. That being said, like, if you're Nick Saban and you're coming out and you're complaining because you're frustrated about this stuff now, of course you're going to have people call you on your shit. And like you said, he's not above reproach. I would be willing to guarantee that he has things in his past as far as recruiting that he wouldn't want to come out into the public spotlight. And so when you start throwing shade at other people, other coaches, other programs, of course they're going to clap back. Right. And You look, if you're talking about like Alabama reporters and stuff like that, they're not going to be looking into this nasty shit because they want to
No, hell no.
boost up their own program. But yeah, I mean, if you in this day and age in this society where everyone loves a story, and you sprinkle a little bit of breadcrumbs out there, of course you're going to have other reporters and things like that investigating, looking into it because they want to break something big and make their name nationally. So this is just adding to that. At the end of the day, this whole situation, like I said to you earlier, I'm kind of off on the whole thing. It feels like we are talking about some old crotchety, bitchy women comments that are happening. This is the off-season stuff where it's like daytime soap opera drama that's being pulled up. It's kind of unnecessary. If Saban just shuts the fuck up and understands that the landscape is changing, none of this really happens. But of course, it's juicy. So it's going to
absolutely
catching these spotlights.
Yeah, so something that you brought up is like, how much money that people are making. So I looked it up. Alabama had a revenue last year of $179 million. Expenses were $170 million on football. So their football team operated with a $9.6 million surplus. That football team made $9.6 million. Okay, so there's some money there. That's, new facilities, because what are they going to do with that 9.6? They're going to tuck it away somewhere, right? That's Nick Saban's next contract extension that they can fucking tuck away, right? Or, they could find a way to, maybe return that to the players. So each individual school makes their own money. Well, we did some research before the show started on how much money the NCAA makes. Last year, they made $1.16 billion on college athletics. And they don't pay out anybody. They're taking off the top from schools and programs because they are the governing body. So they're not shelling out operating costs other than, salaries and some funny numbers that they're trying to make look like they'll have to spend a bunch of money, but it wasn't anywhere near $1.16 billion. So there's a ton of money in college football. There's a ton of money that the NCAA takes from schools that is, in my opinion, could absolutely and probably should go to a lot of these kids in college. We did the numbers. It came out to about $105,000 per Division I college football player. Now, obviously, there's a lot of Division I athletes. It's not just football players. That's just where we keep seeing the majority of these things come from in terms of NIL is in college football. I assure you there's things that are going on in basketball. There's probably shoe deals and things like that as well. Outside of college basketball and college football, though, I don't know that there's too many NIL deals going on. I don't know that there's that many big-time college athletes that are national brands or could be a national brand at that point. So you're looking at a pretty hefty, you're looking at least 50 grand, right? That they are worth. Now, some people can say, okay, well, that's what their college scholarship is worth, right? Well, not necessarily. Like, one college scholarship from one school is not equivalent to a college scholarship at another school. And everybody has a fucking degree now, except for me, which sucks because I'm starting to realize that you actually do need one, even though I think they're dumb. But they're a dime a dozen now. They're not like this big pillar of, it's worth so much because everybody has one. If you don't have one, that's the problem. So
that's the thing too, is that scholarships, obviously these athletic scholarships are tied to the athletics, but if we take athletics out of it, you have people getting scholarships and things like that outside of sports to go to college that is paying for all this stuff individually as well. Like, there's other opportunities that the school paid for, but we're talking. You could be giving these kids basically an annual salary that is in line with like national averages for a median income, and you're still changing their lives and still paying for their college and all this stuff. The schools are still making their money. The NCAA is still making their money, and you're giving these kids an education and paying them a good annual wage essentially for it. It's nothing like what they're going to be getting in professional sports like NFL or NBA or anything like that, but it's still so fucking good where theoretically they can stash this money away, and when they get out of college, if they make it to professional sports, cool. If they don't, they're still set up
That's a
way
nest egg.
better. They're set up way better than most people when they graduate college. Like they should be setting these kids up for success after college. And it's not just through their education, because how many times do we see someone get a degree and then they can't find a job still?
Well,
even
also
though they have a
depends on your
degree?
fucking degree that you pick.
That's
Like
true.
a lot of athletes are picking communications degrees.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them, but it's typically because they have the least amount of course requirements and they're easier classes. That's why fucking they're taking those classes, because playing college sports is a full-time job. As a former college athlete, now I wasn't there for a long time, but that shit was a full-time job, and I was playing at an NAIA level, and it was a full-time job. At a Division I level, I assure you, it is fucking way more. You are never out of season. Even at the level I was playing at, once the season was over, we had like a week off. And then we went into fucking winter conditioning in the mornings before classes. And then when we got done with winter conditioning, when weather got nice enough, we went into fucking 2-a-day practices. Like that's around college schedules. Like we had specific times where we could not take classes. It is a full-time job at that level. So at this level, it's insane. Giving them that kind of money it's not overpaying for the amount of work they're putting in and the amount of revenue they're generating. We talked about the NCAA, $1.16 billion for fucking doing nothing, making a bunch of rules, but not necessarily knowing if people are following the rules until years later, and then punishing kids that weren't even there. Like the NCAA is really bad at their fucking job. Like when Reggie Bush, that whole thing came out, that came out after Reggie was already in the NFL.
Yeah.
Came out a couple years after. And then they went back and stripped all the records, right? But then they suspended and stripped scholarships from USC starting now. Now you're punishing kids who had nothing to fucking do with that. I mean, I have a strong disdain. I cannot fucking stand the NCAA and the way they operate, because they're really bad at their fucking jobs. We don't need them. $1.16 billion in revenue spread across all of those goddamn schools. Now we're not worried about NIL deals. Now I don't got Nick Saban throwing a fucking bitch fit about A&M having an opportunity to maybe set up NIL deals for their kids, because A&M didn't pay these players. They're not paying them directly. What their recruiting pitch probably was listen, we are in a big fucking area of the world. There are a ton of goddamn companies around here. We know people that maybe can set up NIL deals. If that's something that excites you, maybe A&M is the choice for you. They didn't directly be like, hey, man, here's fucking 10 grand. Like, it doesn't happen that way anymore, because it doesn't have to happen that way anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's the same argument that they would make in previous years is you play for a big school in a big market, you're going to have more TV coverage, more notoriety, scouts are going to see more, so you have the better potential to make it to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing as like, hey, we are in a bigger market, we're a bigger area, you have the potential to make it to the big leagues, and you have the potential to earn more right now through NIL deals, and we can help connect you to those people as necessary. It's the same argument that's made before, but the college and the recruiting staff is still, they're not paying for the player to get there. I don't think there's anything shady with that. It's just these NIL deals are allowing different markets to leverage where they're at a little bit better, and it is what it is. It will be very interesting to see how this plays out. One, I mean, if this coaching squabble stuff continues, because there's still another coach involved that we haven't talked about with it, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Like I said, this is kind of like midweek soaps playing out and people bitching. But
and then we got Dion, who is not a typical soap opera character, who also gets dragged into this by fucking Saban, saying that they paid their top recruit $1 million to go to Jackson State when Jackson State can pay Dion $1 million. They're paying him $300,000. Which I don't mean. I was surprised that he flipped. I thought it was cool that he flipped. I figured NIL was a part of it, but also he was a cornerback. He might want to go play for the greatest cornerback in NFL history, arguably. And Dion said, listen, man, I'm not fucking, if Saban calls me, I'm not talking to him. If he wants to talk, we're going to talk publicly, just like his comments were. And I'm going to add this in there because he didn't actually say this because I don't think Dion would do this, but I ain't dealing with this little bitch ass motherfucker in private. If he wants to talk, he can talk like a fucking man and do it in public like he did already.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's a thing that would come out of Dion's mouth. But he won't ever say that publicly because Dion's a fucking professional.
Yeah. I think he generally will keep it real though. If he's in the public space, he's not going to back down any of these things.
No.
But it'll be really like I'm really more interested to see what the NCAA does here going forward with the NIL deals because
the
they're going to
SEC
have to
has
start
fined
tapping
these
things.
coaches. The NCAA, like you just said, I'm sorry for cutting you off. The NCAA is going to have to put something in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We think
they're going to have to start capping these deals because it is crazy how certain markets are able to pay some of these players. I mean, we're seeing insane deals happening. There's a thing, this is going back March 12th, 2023 5-star college football recruit is reportedly signing a historic NIL deal worth up to $8 million, where and again, it's unnamed. The contract pays the athlete $350,000 immediately and then gives them escalating monthly payouts to the point where they can make over $2 million per year. You're talking good professional level contract type stuff here for a guy that isn't even in the professional sports yet, and he's a 2023 recruit, you know. So again, on one side, make your bag however you can. I'm all about it, but the NCAA is going to be like, we need to limit some of these somehow, because NCAA loves just putting limitations on things and finding a way to kind of cant the system they want it to. That they are going to feel like they do not have enough control.
And that's what the NCAA always wants, is fucking control. Yes. Especially when there's money involved.
Yeah. So they're going to find a way to ratchet this down and get more control over the situation, not for anyone's benefit other than their own, to have control.
Yeah. And that reported deal, if that's not Arch Manning, it shouldn't be anybody.
I would assume that is a strong possibility of who it is. Just they're not listing who it is yet.
And they won't. That'll be something that comes out later once the kid's already played or something like that. You can't. That's too much pressure to put on a kid before everybody plays a fucking down of football in college. Yeah. So and that probably will never come out until he's already there.
Right. And something to keep in mind too. So previously, before NIL deals, some of the money that was involved with these players and getting them to come to certain areas involves your boosters for schools. Right, which are wealthy individuals that are tied to the school and have investments in the school and whatnot. Who do you think the NIL deals are coming from? They're coming from the boosters. Those booster programs are able to leverage either their own businesses for NIL deals, or the boosters are able to go to other businesses and be like, "Hey, we're going to take some of this booster money, support your business if you support these players in order to get them to come here."
The money's all coming from the same fucking revenue source that it is always coming from. Now it's just not illegal.
Yeah, and it is more openly going to the players, which, if it's openly going to the players and they're able to have to live their life in a little bit less secrecy for some of these more shady backdoor type of deals. So it's better to get that out into the light and allow the players to not feel like they're cheating the system or something like that, or cheating in general. But it's all, the booster programs and all that stuff. It's always been happening. It's still happening. It's just happening in a different way.
All right. Well, I think we're good there. I think we've hammered that home for the most part. Unless you got anything else that you want to add on that before we move on to the next thing.
No, sir. Ready to go.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to go here. So we got some golf going on right now. Okay. Second major of the year, PGA Championship. It's been an interesting few rounds, but that's not the golf I want to talk about just yet. The golf I want to talk about is the the giveaway that we are going to be doing for the show. So I kind of alluded to it last week. Lineman Lounge is going to be doing another giveaway. This one is going to be for two winners. It's going to be a set of 2 tickets to join myself and producer Amber for Top Golf at First Energy Stadium on July 30th. It's going to be a damn good time, but we want to go over kind of the ways in which you can enter. Okay, so you need to either be a follower on Twitter or a member of the group on Facebook. Okay, so I need you at least on the Facebook or on the Twitter as a follower or a group member. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a screenshot of any of our shows. Okay, could be this one, could be future ones, could be any of the ones in the past. I want to need a screenshot from the YouTube. Okay, and then I need hashtag Top Golf at the Lounge. That might be too long. That's what I had in my head. I feel like that's too long.
It's a little long.
It is a little long. Let's go hashtag Lounge Birdies.
All righty.
Okay, so we're going to go hashtag Lounge Birdies along with a screenshot from the YouTube. Post that to Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you are a follower or a group member, and that will get you entered. So we're going to do the winners, the drawing on, what day did I decide? July 9th. That will give us time to make sure that we can coordinate with the winners, make sure that we know where to meet. That way we can all get into the bay, have a good time, playing some Top Golf over at First Energy Stadium. So one more time, guys, that's going to be or follow on Twitter, be a member of the group, take a screenshot of any one of our shows on YouTube, and then hashtag Lounge Birdies, and that will get you entered to win in this drawing. So, boom.
All righty.
All right. So let's actually talk about a little bit of the PGA Championship. Tiger is still in it somehow. He is battling, but he has been fucking terrible throughout this tournament.
We say terrible. I mean, he's still
the man is
playing.
coming off of major surgery.
He's still playing. He made the cut. All right. So he's still one of the top 70 some odd golfers in this tournament or whatever. But it looks like he had a real bad day today. I believe he went plus 9 today.
Yeah, he shot a 79 today.
Yeah, which is rough.
That
but
is not a good
better
day.
than what I shoot, especially on a very easy course. But he's still out there. He's fighting back. It is what it is. But I know that most people do like to pay attention to the Tiger story and how, potentially the greatest golfer of all time is doing in his comeback here. Will Zalatoris, on the other hand, is currently in the lead. He has not played yet today, but he's still 9 under as of right now.
Yeah, and then right behind him, Mito Pereira. So I don't know either one of those top 2 guys, but we got some names right behind guys that I do know. JT, Justin Thomas, Bubba Watson, and then Rory McIlroy. Rory in the lead after day 1. Struggled a little bit yesterday. Man, I would love to see Rory get back up to, that top contention. I really like Rory. Good personality. We've had these guys that we thought were the next Tigers, right? Rory was that guy. And then it was Jordan Spieth. We've had these guys kind of rise up and then they just fucking disappear. I would love to see Rory come in and, start to be competitive week in, week out again like he was for a while. I mean, because he rattled off 4 majors within 2 years?
Yeah, he
and then it was just gone.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that guy in the lead, Will Zalatoris, he is a name that people should be watching. In the past year, he kind of came out of nowhere, and he's been extremely competitive. We're talking top 10 a lot. You might recognize him from a movie, especially from our youth, Happy Gilmore. He was Happy Gilmore's caddy in the movies.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they look identical, but they're not the same person.
Okay, I was like, dude, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, they honestly do look identical. But Will Zalatoris is no joke. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him. just because like he does kind of look off-putting to me. I think that was one of the things with Happy Gilmore, Hattie, but he's the real deal. I think that, you know, with him being in the lead right now, he doesn't have a huge lead, but it's about time for him to win one of these majors, and it's going to happen sooner or later. So might as well be this one if he's already in the lead. And you know, we've got today and tomorrow left still, so there's still
A
plenty
lot of
of
golf.
room for that to be shaken up here going forward. But Zalatoris is no joke. He's going to be one of the big names to watch here going forward.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So we're going to get ready. We're going to move on to our next topic. Before we do that, Daddy needs another alcoholic beverage. So I'm going to go run and grab probably a couple of those real quick. And then I'll be right back.
Alrighty. While you're doing that, I'm actually pulling up a picture of Will Zalatoris here to show everybody exactly what we're looking at as far as the similarities, so that way I don't seem like an idiot saying that it looks like the caddy from Happy Gilmore. Alrighty. All right, so you have Will Zalatoris on your right there, and then the caddy from Happy Gilmore. They might be the same person. Pretty nice similarity there, if you ask me. But he is the real deal. Like I've been saying, he looks like this Happy Gilmore caddy, but he is really over this past year or so kind of come out of nowhere. 25-year-old out of Wake Forest, and he has been very dominant. Like I said, he's been top 5, top 10 a lot. So sooner or later, he's going to win one of these, and this might be his time to actually take a major.
Okay, so those are the same person for sure. No doubt in my mind. And how old did you say he was?
25 years old.
I mean, he had a great life in college or something, because that man has lived hard. If he is 25.
He is married, and his wife is a dimey dime.
Oh.
They happened to look this up at work yesterday.
Okay.
We had a weather day, so we
see, I missed those.
Took a look here and there. All right, man.
Put in my fake chew and yeah.
What we got next, buddy?
So next thing we're going to talk about Ice Wars. Anybody who just heard me say that, it's not real. I know. So my job, I'm not allowed to use tobacco. So I got this stuff. 0 nicotine, 0 tobacco. It's not bad. It's not the real thing, but if you guys are looking to try to quit chewing or using tobacco, it's a pretty good product. Also, Canada dips are pretty dope. But I don't know. Not everybody's job will let you do CBD. So that's a nice little alternative if you're looking to quit using tobacco products. A little bit of, Black Buffalo. Not a sponsor, but absolutely could be, because stuff's pretty good for not being actual tobacco.
I've tried some of those fake tobacco products, and they're good here and there. But I haven't found anything that I really, really like. The closest thing I like is those Rogue nicotine pouches, because I'm all about nicotine. I think nicotine gets a bad rap.
I agree. Nicotine does get a bad rap.
It is addictive, but what isn't addictive out there these days? I mean, caffeine's addictive. Nicotine is actually good for your health. It actually helps with mental cognition. So in small amounts,
it helps with fucking mental focus, and
there's studies out there showing that it helps prevent or help with Alzheimer's. Yeah. So there's definitely benefits to it.
Listen, I'm not advocating everybody go start using.
Let me throw this back up here.
Yeah. I'm not saying everybody should go start using nicotine. I can't use nicotine because my job will not allow me to, which is why I switched to that. But nicotine gets a bad rap for no reason.
You were saying Ice Wars.
Ice Wars. Absolutely. So I know for you and for a lot of hockey people, hockey season's over, right? Because your teams are out. You're done.
Even my backup team is out.
Even your backup team is out. Now, my Avs are still doing very well.
They did take a loss.
I mean, they're going to take at least one at some point. They weren't going to run the table here. But if you are a hockey fan and your team is out, but you still miss hockey, if you're a casual hockey fan and your favorite thing about hockey is the fights, man, do I got some shit to fucking tell you guys about. Ice Wars International tonight is their first fights. Okay. It is taking place in Alberta. I believe you can watch it on Apple TV. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just a smaller, compact ice rink. 2 fucking warriors come in, drop the gloves, and start fighting. You got 2 1-minute rounds to decide a winner. If there is a tie at the end of the 2 rounds and the referee raises both hands, 30 seconds, go right now, on site. Ref better get the fuck out of the way. For fucking to figure out the winner, there's 2 weight classes, 200 and up, 199 and down. So if you want to watch some fights, or if you're a hockey guy, hockey person that just likes watching hockey fights, this is the shit to watch tonight.
Yeah, I didn't know what this was, and I just quickly pulled it up here. So this is a quick Reuters article, but Ice Wars is an upstart combat sports league that will pit hockey enforcers. So the big guys out there that don't really play much hockey to begin with, other than just fuck people up, it's going to pit hockey enforcers against each other in a rink next month. But instead of scoring the puck, the goal is to knock your opponent out cold. The quote here is, "I'm calling it prize fighting on ice because at the end of the day, there is no hockey being played." This is Ice Wars president AJ Galante. There are no sticks, there are no pucks, there are no nets. So yes, it's full hockey year, and it will be predominantly current hockey players, but it is prize fighting with a purse on the line. So it is literally just, we're just going to take these enforcers out here who probably have a little bit of beef or just like getting in a scrap, a little tilly, and just let them go at it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to see this. And this is not just a one fight and they're done. It's a fucking tournament style. You win, you go on to the next fight to crown the king of the rink. And if you guys, if that name sounded familiar, AJ Galante, if you guys watch the Netflix about the Dansbury Trashers little documentary, it is about a little minor league hockey team run by a couple of fucking paisans who were doing some possible shady things, including the mob. Yep, there we go. Let's pop that right back up there. We should just keep that fucker on there basically the whole time. Yep. And yeah, so they had the Dansbury Trashers. AJ Galante was the GM. I think he was 17 or 19 when he got put in charge of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going out and they're fucking people up. They were not even really playing hockey to begin. They were kicking people's asses. They were winning games, but they were out there just fucking people up. People loved them, and then everything came crashing down with possible mob ties. And
yeah, I remember hearing about that, and it's been one of the documentaries I've been meaning to watch. As I'm reading more of this article, it's the fighters will be wearing 4-ounce MMA gloves and cannot intentionally take off their opponent's helmet. But if it comes off as a result of a great punch, it's quote game on. Yeah,
this is going to be super exciting to watch. Like, this is going to be a cool thing to see. I hope they keep going.
I'm hoping that this is interesting. I like how organic hockey fights are in NHL.
Right.
Like, there's a story behind it. Usually the guys already have beef, or one of the other teams starts going after your star player. Not necessarily a prima donna or something like that, because I don't think any of these hockey players are really prima donnas, but if they start going after one of your star players who are not going to be out there checking, hitting hard all the time, and they start going after them, that's when the enforcer comes in and they start laying down the law. They're your offensive line for your quarterback. They're like, hey, you fuck with my guy, we're going to fuck you up.
Yep.
And in hockey, you're allowed to do that and have these enforcers go out and start throwing haymakers. I like how that organically happens, and there's a story behind that in regular ice hockey, because you can feel, especially if they're in person, you can feel that tension building. I remember when I went with Hannah to the Roadrunners
Arizona
game up
team?
here in Tucson. I was like, you feel that? Like they're getting chippy out there. I don't know if there's going to be a fight. I really hope that there is. And there sure as fuck was. I called out who was going to fight and everything. I was like, these guys are going to get into it. And sure enough, they dropped the gloves and went at it. Like you feel that tension building. And when you get that fight, you know, it's awesome. This will be different because it's way more organized and you know that the fight's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see if you still have that same sort of feeling to it, because you know
all that vitriol and the build up, and
it's way more, you know, closer to cockfighting than something that organically happens. Like when you're at the bar and you see two people kind of like making eyes at each other all night,
gesturing,
like, this guy's fucking pissing me off, and
you're
sitting there at the bar, you're kind of like, ooh, we're about to see something happen. That's a lot more fun than just like, oh, we're just gonna have this straight up fight. But that's not to say that, you know, when you watch UFC or boxing, like that's obviously, you know, what's going to happen. There's going to be a fight, and that's still a lot of fun. So it'll be a different dynamic, and I'm interested to see how that ends up playing out.
Yeah, it's I'm kind of excited. So one of my favorite like comedies is the movie Goon. I don't know if you've ever seen it with Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
Love that fucking movie, and this kind of that whole just enforcer mentality. Now you got a bunch of fucking goons just going out and smacking the fuck out of each other. And I love the fact that it's not like, okay, it was a tie, let's go ahead and come back. No, it's like, guess what? Fucking fight. Let's go on site. Let's see who is the man right here. I love that idea. And I love the tournament style.
Now, these guys, they said that most of them are current hockey players, maybe not all NHL, because I see some are from lower leagues and stuff like that in Canada. It'll be interesting to see what sort of tarps are they going to come out in? Are they going to be rocking anything from their regular team? I'm assuming that they can't.
So I saw a thing that Pat McAfee did with AJ Galante, where he said there's going to be kind of like a almost a WrestleMania type feel in the intros and things like that. So that'll be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out, how it works, how they build up this entire atmosphere.
And apparently this isn't like the first time this happened. They said that there was a battle of the hockey enforcers in 2005 that was held in British Columbia. That was the inspiration for this ice war. So it's something that's kind of been tried before, apparently, maybe not to this sort of scale or to this sort of fanfare. But yeah, that is very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So one of the things so obviously I heard Pat talk about it a little bit, and then I looked into it a little bit, and I saw somebody say something about it. One of my friends from Wyoming. So Wyoming Combat Sports Commission is like one of the sanctioning bodies for this entire thing. MMA Wyoming, and obviously I have a lot of ties back to Wyoming still. So I was like, all right, I want to go and take a whole fucking look at this thing, and it sounds like it's going to be badass. So.
All right.
So
with that, what else we got, Mike?
All right, so we got one thing left on the docket, and that's going to take us to the NFL, kind of our bread and butter, but this is always a subject that we fucking hate talking about, but it's something that we do need to talk about. It is close to home here for me, as this takes place in Cleveland, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, having two daughters, and some of the allegations that have come up against Deshaun Watson. Well, the NFL has kind of been through some meetings with Deshaun. There is a interview coming out on HBO's Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, where he interviews some of these massage therapists. And there were some details that came out.
Massage therapists. They're Instagram chicks from what I heard.
And then we hear about one of the stories that had come out where at the end of a session, one of the girls was crying, and Deshaun had texted her afterward and had apologized to her, because I don't know what happened in that room. Only those two do. We may hear about what actually happened in that interview. I'm not sure. But this is a situation that's not going anywhere. It is entirely possible that Deshaun, with some of this information and this interview coming out, that the NFL is about done with their investigation, and we could possibly see a suspension come down if there is one at this point. in light of some of these details, it seems very likely to me that he is going to be suspended. Where for a while I thought there was a chance that he would not be suspended at all, based on the CBA and things like that. So the Browns have tried to do a pretty good job of positioning their quarterback room to have guys in place to be backups. We just signed another quarterback. So we got 5 quarterbacks technically on the roster if you're including Baker Mayfield. This is a situation that is, I don't think we're far away from hearing the outcome of the investigation, and this is a tough thing to talk about because I'm a massive Browns fan. I will never stop being a Browns fan. But to consider what happened with the contract, how much capital was given up to obtain Deshaun, this is potentially really damning for the Cleveland Browns organization if it is determined that they structured a contract in a way so he pays almost no penalty and he ends up getting suspended. If he gets suspended for the year, this looks like a really, really bad move. I don't know if that opens the door for Baker to come back and play again. I don't think it does. I think that relationship is fractured. But I want to get your take on some of the things that we've heard and where this thing could possibly go.
Yeah. So whether in reality the interview on HBO shouldn't make a difference, but it absolutely will, because the NFL has to, like, they are still just investigating right now whether or not he violated the personal conduct policy. If there was actual, anything other than the civil suits going on, the NFL could act much more easily. They have to kind of tiptoe around this and find ways to fit what he did, falling into that civil or that personal conduct policy. And he's having in-person interviews with NFL investigators concerning this.
Yeah, so he did have that, but he's been at camp. He's now, I want to say he's down in the Bahamas with a bunch of his teammates. They're just playing golf. So he's acting like it's no problem.
He did treat a bunch of his offensive players to a bonding trip down in the Bahamas this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I think we are both in, like, the NFL is going to find a way to suspend him. It'll be interesting to see how long, because the personal conduct policy is relatively broad as far as what falls under it and what doesn't. Anything that brings shame or a tarnish to the shield usually can fall under that personal conduct policy. So negative PR, which is what that HBO doc is going to be, is not going to help his case, even though it doesn't really make a difference as far as the true facts. It's PR that is going to hurt the shield. And, that's probably going to affect their outcome and their determination to some extent. A whole year off, I think, would be pretty unprecedented. But I mean, we just saw what happened with Trevor Bauer. I think we talked about this again, is that Trevor Bauer being suspended for 2 years for this sort of stuff versus what Deshaun Watson allegedly did. I think that we're talking probably in the 4 to 8 game realm, with 6 games falling right in the middle of that. And I think that's what a lot of people are kind of expecting. But the NFL might just try to come out with something pretty crazy, suspending him for more, which I think is probably, for Browns fans in general, a big fear, especially with what you had to give up to get Watson. It'll be a real tough pill to swallow if that ends up happening.
Yeah, this is going to be, if it comes down where he's suspended for an entire year, it's going to be catastrophic for the organization and the things that they gave up. This year is going to basically be a wash. I mean, we're a really good team. We have a really good roster, but the quarterbacks don't get us to the playoffs that we have behind Deshaun. So that's going to be a drop in the bucket. I mean, this is going to be a wasted year if that's the way it comes down. And then it turns into, okay, we're getting Deshaun for 4 years. Now is the amount of capital that we gave up really worth it? If you get him for a full 5 years, you're probably right there in line with the production that he could give you for what you gave up. If you lose an entire year, now the Browns have drastically lost this trade. And we talked about, defending the shield. The NFL is always trying to defend the shield and making sure that, they don't look bad. Is it possible, do you think, that we could see some punishments come down to maybe some owner and front office personnel based on the way the deal was structured to get him out of a financial penalty to sweeten that deal to get him there? We have seen suspensions in the past for owners like a Jim Irsay when he had his incident with some substances. So I'm not sure that's entirely out of the realm of possibility. What's your take on that?
I'd lean against it not being the case. I think how open to the media his situation has been, and the trade and everything, it's been so open that everything is more or less above board with that one team, your team, is taking and accepting that risk to bring him on in the hopes that things will work out for them in the long run. I think it'd be tough for a situation where it is just his actions causing negativity for himself, for these women, for the league, for his teams. It's all focused on his actions, and it's not like ownership didn't make him do any that stuff. Ownerships didn't force him to be in any of these situations. It's weird to say he's kind of being rewarded for his play and everything, despite all this stuff, by getting all this money in the trade. But I don't know that that's something that the owners would be punished for, because they're taking on a heavy burden where they could get punished for the deal regardless, without the NFL telling them that they're getting punished. I mean, there's a lot of money on the line and a lot of draft capital and stuff like that. So the punishment could be self-imposed by those teams. Yeah, for doing the trade.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't think there will be a suspension. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility they would that could be discussed. But I think that would, now Roger could do something crazy. Roger has that capability. Jerry would fight it tooth and nail because Jerry does all sorts of shady things, and he would not want that to come back to him eventually. But this is a really, really shitty situation. At this point, I'm just I'm holding my cards close to my chest, waiting for football season to happen. Once we figure out what happens with Deshaun, then, we'll go from there. We'll see if I'm excited for the season, if I am going to be like, okay, this year is what it is. But right now I can't get too high. I can't get too low because we have no idea the way this is going to shake out. The news this week, I think, is not great for the Browns or for Deshaun. But this interview is really going to be very telling on, in my opinion, some of the things that come out. Like you said, it probably shouldn't play a factor, but it absolutely will, because it is a PR nightmare, depending on what is said.
I'm sure the investigators have already talked to all these women, so they already know their stories. And that's what matters. Whether or not it's on TV or not shouldn't matter, but it will, because it is negative PR.
Yeah.
They'll feel, NFL will feel more so forced into a corner into its determination of what actions they take.
All right. And I think that's going to wrap it up for today, man. I didn't have anything else kind of lined up. We got most of everything I wanted to talk about. I don't think we missed anything. But so just want to reiterate, guys. So Lineman Lounge is doing a giveaway right now. If you are a follower on Twitter or a group member on the Facebook, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of any one of our shows from all of our past shows all the way up until that show on the 9th of July. screenshot with the hashtag Lounge Birdies. That will get you entered to win one of the sets of spots to join producer Amber and myself for some Top Golf at First Energy Stadium. So I want to toss that out there again. I'll make sure that gets posted. There'll be a little clip kind of explaining all the details again as well. That'll go out on the YouTube. That'll go out on Facebook. That'll go out on Twitter. So everybody's tracking all the details. So you don't have to, go and search to find it. But man, good show. I had a good time. Went a little crazy with the intro today. I was pumped. There were some cool things that we got to talk about, like Ice Wars. I'm super excited about. So had a little more juice coming in when the show started, but I had a damn good time.
Absolutely. And that's, like you said, NFL is our bread and butter. There's not a ton going on right now. We are in that little bit of a lull, so we'll try and fill you in with as much as we can, sports in general. And really, it's kind of sit back, wait, relax, and get ready for the NFL season, because it is right around the corner. We're going to start seeing, more of these training camps, OTAs, things like that happening here before too long. So it'll really get back into the swing of things here going forward.
Absolutely. So, guys, this is the Lineman Lounge. You guys can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can email the show at linemanlounge@gmail.com. And then I think next time we're going to have to make sure that we get that number posted. We haven't had a call-in a while. I don't know where Torres has been to get us some sexy Torres shotguns, but
he's busy learning how to make salsas for a salsa competition at work.
Ooh. I mean, I've had some of the shit that he's cooked before, and it's always fucking good. So my money is on Torres. I don't care who he's going up against.
David. $20 is going to be going in it as well.
Man. So can we have a 1A, 1B?
Look, a day where I get to eat salsas is just a good day, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that I'm not going to be there for that. Don't ship me any salsa. It won't make it here. But I'm going to have to get some fucking recipes from those guys after we figure out who the winner is, if they're willing to share said recipe. Make my own. But
absolutely.
All right, guys. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to go relax a little bit more before the kids get back, and it turns into a madhouse around here again after they've been at the lake at this birthday party. This is the Lineman Lounge. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back next week. And as always, see you.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional.